Have you ever loved someone so deeply that losing them felt like losing a part of yourself? What if holding on to love becomes the very reason we suffer? And when we finally let go, does peace truly follow? Or does another kind of pain silently take its place? Let's begin. There is no suffering more piercing than clinging, and no freedom more profound than letting go. Love is meant to flow freely, like a river dancing through valleys and fields. But what happens when that flow is abruptly dammed? When we cut someone off, especially someone we have loved deeply, it feels like amputating a part of our soul. It's not just painful, it's unnatural, disorienting, and deeply haunting. Yet, there are moments in life when love transforms from joy into struggle. What once felt like a bond becomes a burden. What once uplifted us begins to weigh us down. In those moments, love can start to hurt. It chains us instead of freeing us. It becomes something we maintain out of habit, duty, or fear, rather than truth or joy. The Buddha taught that all suffering is born from attachment. When we cling to someone, to an idea, to a version of the past that no longer serves us, we open the door to pain. But here's the question: does removing someone from our life truly bring us peace? Or does it carve out a different form of sorrow, one that lingers quietly, unseen, beneath the surface? Our minds, trained by years of clinging, recoil at the thought of loss. They whisper, love means being there. Love means staying. But Zen wisdom offers a different perspective. To love deeply does not mean to possess, and letting go is not abandonment. True love, pure, untainted, knows when to hold and when to release. It understands that some of the most compassionate acts are the quietest ones. Stepping back, setting free, letting be. So we must ask, what truly happens when you cut someone you love from your life? Do you find peace or stir up another kind of storm within? Let us step into this question together through a story of silent separation, love, loss, and quiet awakening. They were once inseparable, like two birds gliding beneath the same sky. Their days were a shared journey of laughter, dreams, and quiet understanding. Their connection was more than affection. It was harmony, like a song they both knew by heart. But just like the tides that kiss the shore and then pull away, love, too, can shift. What once flowed with ease began to falter. Conversations became strained. What was once a gentle stream of words turned into waves of misunderstanding. Silence, once peaceful, grew heavy. The bond began to wear, frayed by expectations, unmet needs, and unspoken sadness. And one day, quietly, the decision was made. Not out of anger, not out of hate, but from a place of deep exhaustion. One heart simply could no longer carry the weight of a love that had become unbalanced. The thread between them was cut. There were no dramatic scenes, no screaming, no accusations, just silence, just absence. At first, there was a strange kind of relief, like setting down a heavy bag you didn't realize you were carrying. But that lightness was short-lived. What followed was something entirely different. Zen master Ryokan once wrote, "The thief left it behind, the moon at my window." And so it is with love. Even when someone is gone, their presence lingers. You can remove a person, but you cannot erase the way they shaped you. Their absence doesn't erase their imprint. In the quiet, the mind drifts back, not to the arguments, not to the pain, but to the small, tender moments. The way their voice once softened your day. The way their presence brought you calm. And so, as we move forward, even after goodbye, their laughter echoed in the quiet, like a familiar melody that lingers long after the music stops. This was the first realization. Love does not vanish the moment someone is removed from our life. It lingers, quietly, subtly, deeply. Like a bell that continues to hum even after its final chime, love leaves behind invisible ripples in the soul. And in those echoes, the heart often stumbles, not because of love itself, but because of our attachment to the memory of it. The more we resist those echoes, the more fiercely they return. The more we try to silence them, the louder they seem to grow. Lesson 2. The illusion of control. To cut someone off is, in many ways, an attempt to seize control. The mind believes that if it removes the person, it will also remove the pain. But Zen reminds us, suffering doesn't come from the outside world. It lives within us. The pain does not come from them, but from the way we cling to how we wanted things to be. One day, walking alone beside a quiet river, a thought surfaced gently. Did I truly cut them off? Or was I trying to cut off my own pain? It's easy to believe that distance equals healing, that by erasing someone from our lives, we can erase what hurt us. But the truth is far more subtle. The river does not stop flowing just because it meets a rock. It doesn't battle the obstacle. It simply glides around it, unchanged in its essence. But the mind, trapped in its illusion of control, tries to remove every stone in its path, believing that only then will peace come. True peace, however, arises not from resistance but from flowing, from learning to let the past be what it was and no longer needing to reshape it. Lesson 3. The teaching within pain. Pain, if we allow it, can be one of life's greatest teachers, but only if we stop running and start listening. Oftentimes, cutting someone off is an attempt to escape pain, to shortcut the learning. But pain does not vanish. It transforms, hides, and returns. It may show up through new faces, in different forms, but with the same message. Have you learned what you were meant to see? Eventually, the heart, wounded but wise, must confront this truth. Love is not about possession. It is not about keeping or losing. It is about understanding. When love begins to hurt, it's not always a sign to run away. Sometimes it's a signal to pause, reflect, and uncover what attachment has been hiding. And as this understanding deepens, pain begins to shift, not into bitterness or longing, but into wisdom. Lesson 4. True detachment is love. To cut someone off in anger or resentment is not detachment. It is resistance dressed in the illusion of strength. True detachment is not the absence of love. It is the purification of love. A Zen monk once said, "To love a flower is not to pluck it, but to let it grow freely. To truly let go of someone is not to erase them from memory with bitterness. It is to release them with grace. It is to recognize that they were part of your path and that their presence, whether beside you or now far away, is still a gift." And so, resistance gave way to gratitude. Regret dissolved into acceptance. The heart no longer clung to the past, nor did it fight against it. It simply was, still, clear, at peace. True letting go is not a show of power. It is not about announcing we have moved on. It is not the act itself that brings peace, but how the mind relates to the act. If we cut someone off with resentment, the separation is never complete. The body may walk away, but the mind stays behind, trapped in old memories, replaying moments, aching for closure. True detachment does not force absence. It invites stillness, a stillness in which love no longer binds, and loss no longer wounds. When the heart no longer clings, and the mind begins to understand the nature of true release, peace quietly begins to bloom. Buddhist teachings gently remind us that suffering doesn't arise from the things or people around us, but from how we relate to them. You may have removed someone from your life, but if suffering still lingers, if your heart still aches in the silence, that is the mark of attachment not yet released. On the other hand, when one lets go with clarity, with compassion, with wisdom, peace naturally follows. So the question becomes, how does one truly let go? It begins with understanding that people are not possessions, they are lessons. In Zen, there's a saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When the lesson is learned, the teacher disappears. Every soul that crosses our path does so for a reason. They reflect something back to us, our fears, our longings, our unhealed wounds. Sometimes the pain of losing someone is not about the person at all. It's about losing what they symbolized. Perhaps they gave you a sense of belonging, made you feel needed, or helped you feel seen. And when they are gone, it's not them we miss, but the comfort, the meaning, the validation they once provided. When we understand this deeply, the grip of sorrow begins to loosen. Instead of asking, "Why did they leave me?" ask, "What did they teach me?" Instead of fighting their absence, try honoring the wisdom they left behind. Because in that space, something shifts. Pain begins to turn into perspective. Lesson 2. The illusion of emotional permanence. The human heart, so full of longing, often believes that love should be eternal in form, but in truth, all things, even the most beautiful, are impermanent. A Zen master once held up a delicate porcelain cup and said, "This cup is already broken." Not because it was damaged, but because he accepted that one day it would fall and shatter. And so, he cherished it fully while it still existed. Relationships are just like that cup. We suffer not because love disappears, but because we cling to the illusion that it should remain unchanged. We resist its transformation. But love, like nature, is fluid. It blooms, it fades, it evolves. When we resist that truth, we suffer. But when we accept impermanence, we begin to love more freely, without fear, without clutching. Lesson 3. The art of non-attachment. To love without clinging is not to love less. It is to love with freedom. It is to offer your heart without demanding to own another's. This is not weakness. This is the highest strength of love. In Buddhism, there's a concept called upekkha, equanimity. It means maintaining inner peace regardless of external conditions. It is the kind of love that allows, that supports, that flows with change. To practice upekkha is to love like the sky loves the clouds, without trying to hold them, yet fully embracing their beauty as they drift across the horizon. Fleeting, ever-changing, precious. Lesson 4. Acceptance. The final step in letting go. True letting go isn't pretending they didn't matter. It's acknowledging, yes, they mattered deeply, but their role in my life has shifted. When a river meets the ocean, it doesn't mourn the mountain springs it came from. It simply flows forward. Still water, still alive, still becoming. In the same way, the heart must move forward. Not with regret, but with gratitude. Not with resistance, but with acceptance. Accept that the past cannot be changed. Accept that love doesn't have to last forever to be real. Accept that sometimes growth comes through the pain of letting go. When acceptance is fully embraced, there is no more need to cut off anyone. There is only release. a quiet recognition that pure love does not bind, it allows. The journey of letting go is not really about the other person. It is about ourselves. It is about recognizing where suffering hides and where peace patiently waits. Because if you remove someone from your life but still carry resentment, you are still bound. If you let them go but ache with regret, you are still holding on. True letting go is not something you do. It is something you realize. It's the understanding that love, at its highest form, does not need presence, possession, or permanence to exist. And when you truly realize this, you stop asking, "What happens when I cut someone off?" And you begin to ask, "What happens when I free my heart?" And within that shift lies the door to true liberation. Thank you so much for watching. If this story spoke to you, consider subscribing to Buddhism Seeds. Click the subscribe button and the bell icon so you won't miss future reflections on love, loss, and awakening. And if you feel moved, leave a comment below. Share your thoughts or tell us what topic you'd love to explore next. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, breathe gently and be free.